Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the two Dum Yinzers, coming from deep inside of your mom's basement. It's it's a brand new week. How you doing today, Michael?
Oh, I'm doing great. Doing great.
Good. Oh, good. It is Monday morning. Everybody feels great on Monday morning, right?
Yes, I how can you not? Especially since I don't have to work Monday, so I'm doing fucking fantastic.
That works, man. That works. Mike, a lot of sports to talk about from over the weekend. There was
Oh yeah.
Penguins, there was Pitt basketball. We got national championship tonight. But the first thing, Mike, of course, we have to talk about
Yes.
is Steeler football. Steeler
Oh
football.
yes. How can you not start there?
Steelers, of course, they played their last regular season game yesterday at home against the Cleveland
Yes.
Browns. The hapless Browns worked their way down the turnpike. They take a 2-hour drive. They get down here. Mike, I got a couple funny things I want to tell you before I get started on this.
All right.
All right, so you know that we, through our research, we found out recently that the Browns have not won a division. They have not won their division since the late 80s, 1989.
Mm-hmm.
Check these things out, Mike. The Browns also haven't swept the Steelers since 1988.
What?
Here's one more. Here's one for you. The Browns haven't finished better than the Steelers in 30 years.
That's insane.
That is not only insane, that is the Browns, everybody. The Cleveland Browns, just in case you forget and think that they're an actual real team, go back and look at some numbers. The numbers will prove that this is not a real team. This is a Division III college team, in my opinion. The Browns, Mike, are so stupid to me. And you want to know why? Baker Mayfield was probably the best thing that happened to them in decades.
Yes.
And here's the thing. Cleveland wants to win a championship. You got to somewhere crawl before you walk. You can't go from being born to retiring overnight. And this is what they're trying to do. They bring in the Odell Beckham Jr.'s and Deshaun Watsons. And this guy, you got to crawl before you walk. There's no medium ground. There's no middle ground for the Cleveland Browns. They went straight from, infancy to trying to retire. And it's like there's a process you have to build. Yeah. And the thing that really irritates me about them, like, I think if they would have kept Baker Mayfield around, I think that they would have done better and they would have eventually got better as a team. They're so quick to throw up the hands and say, oh, this isn't working. Well, yeah, now you're 300 quarterbacks down the list and it still isn't working. At some point, you have to stay with a guy that has a little bit of potential.
Yeah.
And work with them and try to make it happen. But they don't do that. The team is, it's not frustrating to me, but it's got to be frustrated to those fans up there in Cleveland.
It has to be, because like you said, like they had, was Baker Mayfield like the best quarterback in the league? No, but he was well above average, well above serviceable. Yeah. You saw like last year and the year before how well, just run the ball, use him for play actions, get him out of the pocket. He was leading that team, to victories, and he busted up his shoulder, and then they want to make him into a throwing quarterback. They messed up last year. They gave up entirely way too much for Deshaun Watson. Like, he was nothing special since he came back. I don't know what they're trying to do up there. Like, it's like they don't want. Yeah, I understand. Like, they've been back since what, in like 98? When did they come back?
99.
99, yeah. So they've been back
3
for
years.
Yes. Yeah, they've been back for what, 24 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand, wanting to do something now that you've been back that long, but you have pieces in place. Build around them. You still have to take small baby steps. because you're not that they weren't that close to where they could have made those big splashes, and then okay, that's what you needed, that one or two guys to get you over the top.
Yeah.
Because we saw what Odell Beckham did when he went to the Rams. He was a key catalyst of that team down the stretch last year when they won Super Bowl. He was on his way to be Super Bowl MVP till he got hurt. So that was he was a good player to get, but you didn't need him. Browns didn't need him.
No.
They needed other players in other positions, and they just I feel bad for their fans, but I don't feel bad for the organization.
You're right.
It's because the way they did things. They're just it makes no sense what they're doing up there.
It's consistent. I mean, they're consistent in the bad doings that they do. It isn't like every once in a while they do something and you're like, oh fuck. This team is consistently stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't know what they're trying to do.
Mike, do you my fan at all?
I hear nothing on your end.
Okay.
Except for your soothing voice.
And my heavy breathing, my wheezing.
I thought you were just excited to see me.
My wheezing. I was on the couch the other day and I was with my son and I was doing one of my wheezes. And he goes, what was that? And I go, what was what? And he goes, it sounded like a door open.
It's just me dying.
It's just me dying. It's just me wheezing over here.
You sound like a Browns fan.
Yeah.
Like trying to figure out what the hell they're doing.
So the Steelers did it. In fact, they won that game yesterday, Mike, 28-14. It was a pretty impressive game. I thought maybe one of the better games they played all year. If this team could only hype themselves up for football games for 17 different times in a season, they would be okay, because there was times in the first half of the season that they didn't even look like they wanted to be there. Of course, so much happened this year, and I can't fairly say that because there was a lot of different things going on.
Yeah.
But did you notice the last three games, even since Atlanta, since when Cam Hayward and Connor Hayward, they did it for their dad, and Connor scored a touchdown. Ever since that point, they found a way to get emotional. And then to the Raiders game with the Franco Harris, and then to the Ravens game, and then into this one. This emotion, this level that they get to, Mike, it's very impressive. And if only there's a way to tap into this 17 different times a year. Because you know what, I think that they would go a long way. This defense over the season, as we said earlier, if our offense was playing better, our defense would be one of the better defenses in the league. It seems like we're giving up a lot because we're not getting a lot, so it seems a lot closer, tighter. But if you go down and look at these scores, Mike, they didn't give up a whole bunch of points. They didn't, with the exception of two, maybe three games, they did not give up a bunch of points. This defense, they they held it down. They really did hold it down, and we went at them, all season long because we wanted them to do a little bit better, and naturally they had to because of everything going on.
Yeah.
But the the defense, I thought, when I sat back yesterday and I thought about it, we got 20 different interceptions. We have, a guy with 14 and a half sacks, another guy with 10 and a half sacks. You have, the whole way down. I mean, the defense really did a good job, and as spotty as they were, the big stars like Cam Hayward and a couple guys like that, they still, like I said, ended out with good numbers. And at the end of the day, when the games counted, they all count. But yesterday, the big game, who came forth? Cam Hayward. Can you please talk yourself into playing like this more than once a season? That would be great.
That would be great. Like, he's one of the most inconsistent star players I've ever seen in my life. Like, you don't know what game in, game out, you don't know what Cam Hayward you were getting.
No. He looked like he could be compared to Aaron Donald yesterday. If you would take that man and compare it with what he said in preseason, I'd have no problem believing it.
Me too.
But unfortunately, we had 15 other games to watch.
Yeah. He, very rarely, he had a couple games where he played like that. And then for the most part, it's been typical Cam Hayward. Like, where is he? Where is this guy? And then after the game, you hear him talking, all this stuff like, everyone just needs to play better, blah, blah, blah. I was like, how about you just play the way you can, game in, game out? And, you would be that player everyone thinks you are.
Yeah. And also, Mike, the Steelers with Watt in the lineup. Now we're talking defense a little bit. The Steelers were 8-2 this season with TJ Watt in a lineup, and 1-6. 1-6 without TJ Watt in the lineup. Again, you really have to take the schedule and break it down into pieces because it's not that simple. It's not that plain. It's not that drawn out. Take the situations we had with quarterbacks in the first 4 games, and then the second 4 games, you're getting your Buffaloes, you're getting your Philadelphia, you're getting all the. So I mean, you really got to break the team down to understand what that means exactly. However, if you look at the numbers playing out with Watt 8-2, without
Yeah.
Watt 1-6.
But even in those games, okay, he got hurt after the first game. The second game, we lose by 3. Next game against the Browns, lose by 12, but there was that fluke touchdown in there.
Literally lost by about 6 if you take that off.
Lost by 4 against the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Blown out against the Bills. Blown out against one of the best teams in the league.
Absolutely. I wouldn't expect
that
any
sucks.
different.
That sucks, but okay. We beat Buccaneers by 2, lose by 6 to the Dolphins. This juggernaut early in the year where they were scoring at will. The defense held them to 16 points. Then you're blown out against the Eagles, one of the best teams in the league.
And you know what? I wouldn't expect anything different from those 2 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you go back and look at the last couple seasons, when we played the elite teams, we did get our asses beat against Kansas City in the regular season, against Kansas City in the postseason. When we played those teams, we're just not ready to play that caliber team yet. So those 2 games did not surprise me. You take them 2 games out, I mean, you don't have a bad season.
No, you don't. And for the way this team started out in the preseason, when we saw that line in that opener against Jacksonville in the preseason, oh my God, we're not going to win anything.
Yeah.
The defense didn't play well in the preseason either. So it was, all in all, this team actually finished up where I predicted, 9-8, because I had 8-9, 9-8, 10-7, somewhere in that range. So this team is what they are. You just lost your Hall of Fame quarterback. But we saw what this team did the year before. Did they really improve that much in the offseason? No, you signed Mason Cole, James Daniels, hoping that they would improve the line. And James Daniels, he was the best free agent signing we've had in the offseason. Trubisky he underperformed, but he came in once he came in off the bench, he was a better backup than a starter. We have a rookie quarterback that I don't know, for me, the book's still out on, but okay, this team, for what they did, they end up having one more win than they did last year after we lost the Hall of Fame quarterback. We really didn't upgrade anywhere on offense.
Right.
There were Pickens, no real big Pickens.
I mean, you get rid of Claypool and you add Pickens. I think that's a step up for sure.
But going into the season, everyone thought, okay, Claypool, if he's going to progress the way we think he is, he's going to be here, and he didn't reach that, so we got rid of him. Oh, great, now what? You're down to we literally had one receiver this year.
Yeah.
That you can count on.
Absolutely. One
our running back was hurt. We thought he was going to be a bust, but it turns out, hey, that's what happens when you run with a lead plate in your boot.
Mike, not only did he have a good season, he's the first in franchise history. Najee Harris is the first in franchise history to run for back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons to start their career in Pittsburgh.
There we go. I just want to say we need that qualifier because Franco Harris did have 6,000-yard back-to-back seasons.
Oh, yeah, no.
He did it 6 years in a row.
Start their career.
Yeah, start their career, which normally I would laugh at because you're playing 16 games to get 1,000 yards, 60-some yards. Now 17, you're under 50 yards a game. But the way he started, it is quite an accomplishment. And the way that line started too, it's a nice little accomplishment. Next year though, he needs to rush in that 1,250 to 1,500 yard range, and he should still be splitting time with Jaylen Warren, but by then he should be breaking off longer runs. He needs to take that next step.
Somebody did comment that on something that we posted, and they had said that, is it really an accomplishment anymore to get 1,000 yards as a running back? I think that the 1,000 yards is the beginning level of you saying that you have a successful season. I think that if you get 1,000, it was successful. I mean, whether it's 60, 50 yards, whatever it is, that's still that first level. If you're going to go above and beyond, if you're going to get 1,200 to 1,500, whatever, that's just a higher level of success. I still don't think that you could take away from a guy for 1,000 yards. Again, that's a solid season. You want that from your guy, and there's still a lot of guys that don't get that out there.
Well, so I'd want that more.
I just think it's the entry level of having a successful season.
Well, you have to look at. You can't just look at the stats. You have to look at everything going into it. So the way the offensive line played beginning half the year, though his injury was not the best.
If he was healthy all year and we had a decent line, he might have got 1,200 yards.
He would have 12, around there. He finished 7 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving, so 10 on the year.
Good year for
he kind of I want a little bit more, but
compared to what we thought was going to happen.
What was going to happen? Yeah, you have to change. You can't just your expectations have to change throughout the year, and they have to change with the circumstances, the facts, the evidence. Everything has to change. So. You have to look at everything. You can't just look at everything in a vacuum. You have to look at it fluidly. So it wasn't a bad year. Next year though, if this is what happens next year, then I'm going to be worried. Because if he's coming in and hurt again, that's a pattern. That's not a good pattern to have.
We are. We went 9-8 this season. We won 4 in a row to finish out the season. 7-2 since the bye week. I for one am content with the way that it went. And I think we were talking about predictions. I think I nailed that in the head also when I pulled the crystal ball out earlier and I broke down these 9 games. And I don't believe that any of my guesses were wrong. You could go back and check me on that, but I think that I said finish 7-2. One of the Baltimore games we're going to lose, and then either against the Browns or the Bengals, we were going to lose one of them, and we did. So this team, like they did, and like you said, I mean, at the end of the day, it's easy to go back and do this, but pre-bye was 3 games that we could have definitely won. We lost by 3 points, we lost by 4 points, and we lost by 6 points to AFC East teams that we needed to at least just win one. If we would have won one of them, it'd be a whole different story. We'd be playing next weekend. And then the Buffalo and the Philadelphia game. You know what? I don't care who's in quarterback. Like I said, the past couple of years, we're just not at that elite level yet. We got our asses kicked against the Chiefs. And I think the Chiefs before that, maybe in the regular season, there was a couple of times we got our asses kicked. So you know what? At the end of the day, Tomlin gets his record. He never has a losing record. We finished 9-8. The only thing that stinks about it is Joe Flacco is so much of a schlub. He couldn't help us get into the playoffs. But you know what? It's kind of our fault too. So let's start building. We have good things to build off of. The way we finished this season, we got the draft coming up. For some God unknown reason, Matt Canada is still employed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. But once he's gone, we could maybe.
I don't think he's gone. The offense, you can't blame him for the way the offense produced in the first half of the season, but then say, hey, the offense improved the second half. He goes hand in hand, and I guarantee you I guarantee you they don't want to give the quarterback 2 offensive coordinators in 2 years.
I fire him if I was the guy, but I'm not the guy. However, if you come back with somebody with a little bit more experience and pedigree, I think things just start getting better, moving in the right direction. I am not so upset about the way this season finished out. I'm kind of relieved in a sense. Do I want to continue to watch my team play? Yes, of course. I want to watch them play all the time. But like I said, it wasn't the worst season ever. There's teams out there that have a lot worse than we do. And one of them, Mike, I'm going to kind of cross ship a little bit and talk about one of the teams that have a little bit worse than us. It's the Chicago Bears. Mike, the Chicago Bears with Chase Claypool, who just didn't get the opportunity to show his skills and his talents here in Pittsburgh. So he goes to Chicago, where that's all going to change. It's going to be bright lights and big receivers. Mike, he had 2 catches yesterday for 29 yards and another loss. Now that's 7. They're 0-7 since Chase Claypool goes to Chicago. He has 18 catches in that period of time, 140 yards and 0 touchdowns. Mike, we couldn't have made a better. The move that we made to get that second round draft pick was a stroke of genius at the time.
Omar Khan is already proving to be a better GM than Kevin Colbert.
You know what? If you
late stage Kevin Colbert, he's better than late stage. That's we're picking 32nd overall. We pick 18, 32, and then 50, 51.
17, 32, 49, and 80. 4 picks in the first 3 rounds.
I thought we ended up with the 18th because the Lions won.
I don't know. It's like
everything still needs settled with the Either way, we're picking all right. 17, 18. You're still going to get a good player there. You're still going to get there's still going to be a good offensive lineman there, a good cornerbacks. Some of the top corners are still there. They're not projected to start coming off until the later part of that draft anyway. That I've seen already, 15th through 32 is when the corners are starting to come off, so you can snag a good corner.
32 is technically a first round pick because of the Dolphins.
No, we don't have the 5th-year option on that pick though. That's the key.
But isn't the Dolphins losing a pick?
Dolphins losing the pick, yeah. So technically,
that moves us to 32, which makes it a first round pick. Technically,
it's still first pick of the second round.
However, it's the 32nd pick, which would always be.
I know. I know, but the important thing is with that pick, we do not have that 5th-year option on that player, which is the key thing with the first round pick. Because if they have a good year, you can exercise that option, and they're stuck; they can't go anywhere.
Yeah, 5th round.
I understand where everyone's coming from, but that you have to remember that key distinction there. That
however, 5 years from now is a long way. We could hate the person. We could have a Deontay Johnson,
or you can love the player.
You can have touchdowns this season, Mike. I just you don't know what you're going to get, and I hope that this all works out. I hope the draft. We need a cornerback. We need offensive tackle. We need defensive linemen. We need maybe a
Linebackers.
receiver.
Oh yeah, they're definitely a good
linebackers.
receiver.
So I mean, there's definitely things that we need in getting those 4 picks within the first 80 of the draft. That's going to help us big time. And then I believe we
You
have
have
2
to hit on all
additional
of them.
after that. Correct?
You
6
have to hit-
altogether this year.
You have to hit on all of those picks. I believe, because I know we traded a pick here and there. Oh God, hold on. I'm having trouble typing. There we go. Oh my God, I changed my setup and I can't type. I can't move anything. God forbid I actually get a list of their actual picks when I type in list. Shut up. I fucking hate you. Oh my God. Like, you can't find anything. Everyone just wants to write an article about how they have the 32nd overall pick. That's a first round pick. No, it's not. It's fucking pissing me off. Oh, I am so annoyed right now.
Well, Mike's talking.
Here we go. We have
you good?
First, 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, a fifth, and 2 7th-round picks. But there are still compensatory picks that need to be worked out, but we tend to get screwed on them, so I don't think we're going to get any.
Mike, is there anybody? Let me ask you this. I read something earlier this morning where they had said in the article that we could take, if there was anybody that we would be interested in 1 through 12 and take our picks and trade to somebody to work our way to the top. Is there anybody that we would be that serious about? We'd want that bad to actually make that kind of move? Getting somebody between 1 and 12.
There's a couple stud defensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how well they would fit in 3-4. The one that I'm seeing right now, a lot of people projecting Siki Ika. He's the defensive tackle out of, I think, Washington. Big body guy. He
keep hearing about him. Yes.
Yeah, like they're projecting him as the 32nd overall pick. The people before us, I think I don't know if they would fit well in the 3-4 defense. I think they're more suited for 4-3, but my God, if you can get one of like those big D-tackle and defensive tackles that have the body type and the athleticism to play the end position out in a 3-4, you see if you can trade up and grab one.
Yeah,
I like at this point in the stage of the game for the Steelers, they're still kind of in a rebuild. I want to keep those picks.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna get good players because this draft there's some good players in this draft.
I mean, in the first 50, you're getting, you have a choice between the first best 49 players. If you're getting, what is it?
Yeah, 4 out of the. Yeah, we have some good draft picks.
So I mean, that's great potential. Like I said, you're getting them first round caliber guys. Those guys tend to always work out for you. Them guys are usually game ready, and
you hope so.
And we could plug in. You're right, but you know what? Like you said, Sika, the lineman. So much great stuff coming from. I just keep hearing more about him.
It's hard to have. Is that 2 down player still viable in the NFL today?
Right.
Is he gonna be able to play all 3 downs? Because I don't know. It's still more of a pass happy league, even though it kind of seems to be coming down a little bit. Teams are running a little bit more, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But you have to hit those first 3 picks. Have to hit. Your first and your 2 seconds have to hit. They have to be plug and play players. They need to be able to start right away. None of this, we need, we'll be ready in the half of the season or next year they'll be ready. None of that Kevin Colbert bullshit. They need to be ready to play right now. Because if I can watch 31 other teams draft first round picks and they play right away, high second round picks, they play right away. Why can't the fucking Steelers do that?
Shit, we could I know.
Like I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly here, but this what needs to happen. They need if this team wants to take that next step to get into that into those teams that are right below
look at this
Buffalo,
guy.
Kansas City. You need starters right away.
Look at this guy. I mean, you know who fell in a good example for that we could have certainly fell in was Malik Willis down in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now Mike, 17 games into the season, he wasn't ready to
he's a
step
project
behind center. He's a project. So I mean, that's the kind of thing that you're dealing with when you're going for that guy. Because here's the thing: when he gets good enough, once he learns that team, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be tough to stop. He's a running quarterback. He could throw, but like you said, these are things that you're battling with. And Steelers, we're used to winning, rebuilding pretty quick and getting back on track.
Mm-hmm.
So who's them guys going to be? Joey Porter Jr. I think Joey Porter Jr. Now, I'm not a draft expert, and I don't look into it like you do. So my thought would be, this guy is one of the top corners in the league. His dad was an all-pro. So I depending on who's looking for a cornerback in the draft, that kind of worries me because I like him and I like to have him on our team. But I think that other people might be looking at him as well, Mike.
Yeah, there are. There's some really good corners in this draft. Pulling it up now. So like the top 10 right now, it's from back in December 20th, but Deontay Banks out of Maryland. God forbid. Oh, it's a clickbait article. Here we go. Hold on. Julian Brent out of Kansas. Eli Ricks out of Alabama. He's intriguing. Donovan Witherspoon out of Illinois. Emmanuel Forbes, Mississippi State. Cam Smith is one that he seems to be rising up in the draft.
I don't know if I can take any more Cams on this team.
Cam Smith out of South Carolina. Clark Phillips III out of Utah. Joey Porter Jr. is right now ranked number 3.
Maybe that'll work out nice for us then.
Yeah, Keely Ringo from Georgia. He's very intriguing. Him and Joey Porter are 2 very big bodied corners, and then Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. He's another big corner, 6'2", 200. There's some good corners that are going to go off the board, but there's right now projections I'm seeing is around like that 12, 15 range is when they start coming off. But there's going to because teams above are picking. Are projected right now for like a lot of defensive linemen, linebackers, offensive linemen. A lot of quarterbacks might be going off the board early. There could be, I'm seeing CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Levis, and Anthony Richardson out of Miami.
All quarterbacks are going to go to terrible teams and probably have not so good careers because of that.
Yeah.
Go to Houston. They're going to go to, places like this.
It's going to be interesting to see where the players go because the Steelers, they need an offensive lineman, they need defensive lineman, they need a left tackle, they need corner. These are 4 of the hot areas, and if they can get 3 of the 4 in the first 2 rounds, that's huge. But they all need to be starter capable.
You know who I'd like to see be starter capable this coming season is Calvin Austin III. He had injury issues. We didn't see him at all during this past season, which is a shame. I can't wait to see this guy. And I think, Mike, you have to put that into consideration moving forward because we do need some help at receiver. But what are you going to get out of this guy? Is this what we're going to have? Is this going to be the issue with him all the time? Or is he going to be able to step back in next year and play a good football season and we be happy?
I hate to label someone injury prone after like one training camp because they got hurt and it was a bad injury. Bad injuries happen to people who have long careers. So hopefully it's just a freak injury and he's ready to go. It looked like he would be ready to go, but by the time where the season was, it was just smart to keep him out. I just hope he can be that guy, but those tiny wide receivers, man, he's not going to be a slot. He's going to get destroyed over there. I don't know. I want them to go out and get another receiver because they have good luck drafting receivers in there. And if we have, and he comes along and someone else comes along from this draft, that's a good option to have. More weapons on offense is a good thing to have.
Absolutely.
And him and Steven Sims in the return game.
But what I like at Sims?
Yeah.
He's a good, speedy little guy. You got him on special teams, returning punts, kicks, and then every once in a while you slip him in for a play. And it's one of them things. If the play is successful, you're happy with him, and if it's not successful, you're like, But at the end of the day, I like Sims. I like his speed, and he's a guy that you kind of sprinkle about in your game plan, and he's effective because of that. So I do like Steven Sims, Mike. And then also on the defensive side, before we switch up, I do want to say that not only Alex Highsmith finished 6th with sacks, Mike, with 14.5, he also finished with 5 forced fumbles, which is tied for first in the NFL.
Wow.
Yes, and also, Mike, and I don't know if I noted it yet, Minkah Fitzpatrick finished with 6 picks for the season.
Yes, I saw that. Minkah Fitzpatrick, like our secondary, man. I think we're just like one good corner away.
Yeah, I do too. I think yes.
And depending on what happens in free agency, hopefully we're able to re-sign Terrell Edmonds. I know a lot of people
wants to come back. I did see that.
He doesn't need to be great. He's good enough back there. He's more than good enough back there. He can play the run. Him and Minkah know how to play together. They have good chemistry on the back end. If you upgrade your cornerback position, that's going to take a lot of pressure off of him. And you
Yes.
upgrade that front seven. Guess what? That's going to take a lot of pressure off that secondary.
Now, Mike, let me ask you this: players come and players go, and coach Brian Flores, does he go somewhere this year to head coach? Maybe. I mean, you got teams now, or that are spots are already becoming vacant as of yesterday. Do you think Brian Flores goes somewhere else and takes over a team, or even I wouldn't think that he would go somewhere else and be their coordinator. But do you see Flores here or not next year?
It's tricky now because you have that lawsuit against the league, and the owners tend to favor the league over their own players and coaches.
Right.
The whole reason Miami's not having their first pick, I believe, is because of this tanking scandal.
Is that what it is?
I believe so. Don't quote me on it, but I'm going off that. I'm a dumb Yinzer.
I'll
I'm gonna
go.
say what I want. Sounds good
That's
to me.
right.
But is he still going to be seen as that, kind of toxic because of that? Because he stood up for himself and didn't roll over for the owners in the league. At a certain point, owners, they want to have some of that control over the owner or over their coaches, and to have that position of power. And this guy showed he's not afraid to stand up for himself.
Yes.
So it wouldn't surprise me either way. Someone's going to think, hey, you know what? Look what this guy did to this, helped out with that Steeler defense this year.
Absolutely.
I'd like to see what he improved in those Miami teams after they tanked and everything. He got them some, they weren't the juggernaut they are now, but a lot of those players came from him. So I can see a team wanting to take him. I hope they don't. I hope he sticks around on the staff, because I think him, Terrell Austin, and Mike Tomlin figure out the way to turn that defense around the second half of the year. Even though, like we said, they really only had 2 games where it was like, oh my God, bad scores. But some of those games, when your offense isn't as good, you got to hold it in. But, they were without TJ Watt. They had a lot of secondary issues. Akila Witherspoon hurt and stuff like that. So I'd like to see him back. I think that latter half of the year, the three coaches that have their hand on the defense, it improved that unit.
For sure. Mike, also the AFC Championship game will not be at Acrisure Stadium if it happens if it so happens to be a neutral site game, like they're talking. For whatever reason, I don't know. I just seen on the news headline this morning that the game will not be at Pittsburgh. So
that's booty cheeks.
Yeah. Also, a few other things here, Mike. Now we have the and I don't want to harp on this because I mean everybody knows. But we have, like I said, we saved the players, saved Mike Tomlin's record. I think that's awesome. The next thing we work on, I don't know, whatever we have to do, we have to figure out how to win a playoff game. And here's what I'm saying when I say that. We were going to play a very good team. We were going to play Buffalo if we would have won. Okay. We have to figure out a way now, because we beat the Bengals 23-20. We lost to the Bengals 37-30. We have to figure out a way to stay in games with these other teams that the Bengals are able to stay in line with. The Bengals beat the Chiefs twice in a row. The Bengals, was going to be a good game with Buffalo. I mean, we can stay in there and beat and stay close enough to the Bengals. We just have to figure out, because if we do go into the lower seed while we're growing and getting better every year, then we have to figure out a way to at least stay in them games. We can't go to the playoffs and lose 42-7. You just can't do that, because then, for many reasons, of course. So we have to figure out, that's the next step, obviously. Have a good season, get to the playoffs, and just figure out how to get we got to get over that hump. There's a hump. There's definitely a hump.
Yeah.
There is. How to get over that hump. Then things, could start turning for the better for us.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, to me, it's like some of the, like in years past, is like the key players not producing, not performing the way they should. Like one year, like the offense will be firing on all cylinders, and the defense, just can't hold a lead, can't stop anyone, or the defense is shutting everyone out, and the offense couldn't do anything. So it's been frustrating, but it's to me, a lot of it's coming down to talent on the roster. This team needs a lot of improvement somewhere. I'm sorry, Robert Spillane is playing just played about every snap the last 2 games. And that's fine when you're playing against the Browns and this depleted Bengal or Ravens team. But when you're going up against the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, he's not the guy for those teams. They need to upgrade
You're right.
there. They need to
And
upgrade the secondary offense. They need to figure out a way to score more than one touchdown a game.
absolutely.
Maybe they need to start scoring 3 touchdowns a game. Sometimes 4 touchdowns a game.
Like yesterday was a good sign. Again, you don't want to base everything off of yesterday. I mean, it was a good game where we scored 3 touchdowns. We win by 2 touchdowns. I think that was our biggest win of the year. Maybe the most points we scored all. I mean, except of the 30 that we put up against the Bengals. So, I mean, you can look at this game and kind of see things where we are getting better and we could work on. Of course, you're not going to get a good competition with the Browns. Clowney wasn't even there because he had things to say about the team.
Now, right, he was right though. That's the best part.
But you know what I'm saying? So, you could definitely build off of that. Mike, the one problem that I had, along with other people, I guess, a lot of people, the thing that, excuse me, have been brought up was the CPR sack celebration. Was that a little too soon? The CPR sack celebration where they came over to Highsmith after the sack, start pushing on his chest like they were giving him CPR. He jumps up, they celebrate.
I think that was a spur of the moment.
But out of anything they could have did, that was kind of distasteful, wouldn't you think?
I think it was the spur of the moment. Someone wasn't thinking.
I guess.
I think that's all it was because I didn't even notice it at the time.
Yeah.
Because you see that celebration all the time. People do that a lot. It's just so happened to have a week after what happened on the field.
Yeah.
I think it was just they were excited. They saw him there. They did that. weren't thinking. Or
I don't think the players. I don't think the players are going to be too upset. I think, a lot of guys know the emotion of the game.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be more of a media thing. It's going to be more of a fan thing. I thought they could have went without doing that celebration, maybe, shot something in the air and took a fine for that or whatever it is that they do. But the CPR I thought was a little too soon.
Hey, they're honoring the trainer.
Let's go with that.
That's what I'm trying to find something. I don't know. It didn't bother me. The guy lived, so it doesn't bother me. Mike, if he died, if he tragically didn't survive, and they did that thing, that's what the fuck are you thinking?
All three Florida teams to make the playoffs for the first time in a season since 1999. Mike, 24 years since all 3 Florida teams are in the postseason.
This state does not deserve anything nice.
And you want me to
bad
tell
enough
you why?
they won Stanley Cups and Super Bowls. They don't need this.
Well, let's see how good they do because the Dolphins could barely survive an 11-6 win over the Jets. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going in at 8-9 as a division champion, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are getting better. But you know what? They're not long run into the playoff better. You got a good quarterback. Good things are happening for you. But this team isn't going to go far in the playoffs because, like I said, once you start playing Buffalo, you start playing the Bengals, you start playing Kansas City, teams like Jacksonville will start falling off. Mike, it's just it's interesting though. It took 24 years for 3 teams to get into the playoffs from the state. I don't know. That was just kind of a interesting one for me.
Yeah, Florida. Like it all depends. Like for the Dolphins, man, is Tua going to be healthy and ready to go?
Yeah,
because if he's not, I have a feeling it's going to be a long day. I know
it's going to be a quick.
Like Buffalo, they are without Von Miller. They are without Damar Hamlin. That defense isn't what it was at the beginning of the year, but I think that offense is still imposing.
Mike, I'm going to jump right back over to the bracket. I just have to finish one more headline before we could do that. Peyton Hillis, the running back who was a Madden cover running back for the Cleveland Browns about a dozen years ago or so. Peyton Hillis saved his children from drowning in the ocean recently, and was in critical condition. He's having lung and kidney issues, but as far as I know, he is on the road to recovery and is getting better. Good. I just wanted to throw that out there. Peyton Hillis I always liked him. But we hope the best for him as well as
else. I saw that too over the weekend, and it was like, oh man,
yes,
stay out of the water, guys. Like, because 2 years ago, like a WWE superstar died in the ocean. Just tragically, he wasn't doing anything stupid. Stay out of the ocean.
So we got Mike. Let's do this. We have to do our final grade of the season. This isn't going to be for all season. We're just going to grade yesterday's game.
Okay,
position by position. Quarterback, I thought Kenny did well. I thought Kenny got an A-. Where are you at with quarterback, Mike?
C+. He was very, very inaccurate the first 3 quarters, and then last quarter, if he could play like that 4th quarter, every other quarter like that, I'd be so amped. But there's just a lot of inconsistencies, especially yesterday. I'm going to give him a C plus. But he got
All
it
right.
done when we needed to, so that's
If we
always
could
a plus.
have multiple George Pickens on the field, Mike, KP this season was with throwing to George Pickens 38 for 58, 555 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. If we could have a couple more George Pickens out there,
Yeah.
we'd be flying high. All right, so running back, where are you at with the running backs for yesterday, Mike?
Let's go. Let's go B plus because of that huge fumble from Najee.
There was a fumble by Najee, and there was also a fumble that was gained back by the Steelers by Jalen Warren. Mike, I'm also going to give him a B. You got a B plus. They get a B from
Yeah.
me. Tight
Oh,
ends.
they ran hard and physical. Tight ends. What can you say? I'm gonna go with an A for the tight ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they played well. Connor Hayward played well. Fryermuth was hurt. That's very disappointing, but that does not affect the grade. Hopefully, he's okay. We'll be ready to start the season.
Where are we at when we're talking wide receivers, Mike?
Oh God.
I thought one did really great. The other one did really poorly. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a C, baby. That's a C.
I give him a C
Deontay
as well.
Johnson. Hey. He finally made it into the end zone, baby.
Did you see that
2
on
points,
a 2-point
baby.
conversion? You know what? He had another one earlier this year. I was going to mention that earlier in the season.
He did.
I thought,
Okay,
you know what?
twice. Yeah, he's up to 4 points, man.
Yeah, big dollars. How about the offensive line? Where are they at yesterday for you, Mike? I think we got sacked once. I don't have the numbers in front of me. We ran the ball well.
Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna go with an A minus. They played well. I had like no issues with them. Like,
yeah,
my head against the wall about.
All right, let's talk defense. Defensive line, Mike. What do you think the defensive line looked like yesterday?
It was an A for the most part. We'll say A minus.
Yeah.
A minus. They get
everybody that was cycling in was doing the job. It wasn't just
Clam
guys.
Finally showed up. Clam showed up the tail end of the season. That's nice to see. He got up to his 10 sacks, so people can point at that, say, look, he had a great season. So that was good. Larry Ogunjobi was very dominant.
I love me some Ogunjobi, man.
Yeah.
And let's see. So also, okay, sorry, I lost you for a second.
Yeah, I'm hitting right now.
All right. Mike, linebackers, is there ever going to be a day that Miles Jack, who does lead the team in tackles, could push somebody backwards while making a tackle?
No.
Those two in the middle are just too small for me, Mike. They're getting pushed around. I like Miles Jack, don't get me wrong. I think we have to make a move on push, but still, as many tackles as he has, Jack, he tends to always get pushed back.
He does, and like when Robert Spillane is doing that well, that's an issue for your middle linebacker spot. I'm gonna go with the C plus for the middle linebackers.
What about your outsides? You got Highsmith with a handful of sacks yesterday. I think Watt got back here a time or so. What are you thinking about them outside guys on yesterday's performance?
First half, I'd give them like a C. Second half, definitely a B plus. So I'm gonna go with a B minus overall. It's because that first half, man, they were letting Deshaun. They were just rushing so wide. TJ was rushing so wide, just leaving wide open lanes for him to run. But the second half, they tightened it up. The D line tightened up. So overall, I'm gonna give those guys a B minus on the outside.
All right, cornerback, Mike. Yesterday, cornerbacks. Really, there was nobody that hurt us. I don't think. The guy that scored the touchdown with that tight end, what's his name?
Njoku.
You know what? He was one of the guys that scored a touchdown last time. He's one of these guys that's going to score.
He's good. He's good. We did have two. They did have 2 big plays, 38-yard pass, 36-yard pass. But after that, everything was held under 20. I'm looking at the numbers here, man. Cooper 2 catches, 51 yards. Donovan People-Jones 2 catches, 40 yards. And both of them were off a big play, so I'm gonna go with a B plus. B plus.
Yeah, the corners were not bad. They were not bad. Plus, Levi Wallace got an interception.
Yeah, Nick Chubb's had 45 yards. That he's a running back. That's your linebackers and safeties, and then Njoku 42 yards. That's once again your linebackers and your safeties should be covering them. So B plus for our corners.
I'd like to see a little bit better coverage on those backs and tight ends from our safety position. I
Oh
do
God.
see a lot of times where, Edmonds does come up for some of that lower coverage, underneath coverage, and he does get burnt, and our linebackers certainly get
Yeah.
burned. So I'd like to see that get fixed a little bit.
I've been screaming about that for 30 some odd years.
Yeah. But Mike, what do you think about the safeties then? I mean,
Safeties, I'm gonna go overall again, like B plus.
okay.
B plus, because like once again, they are responsible for tight end a lot, and well, B plus. They both of those guys were all over the place. Edmonds and Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick's had 10 tackles again. That's really not good for up front. Edmonds did have a sack, pass breakup, so B plus.
Special teams. There was nothing really that hurt us yesterday. We didn't let up no big returns. We didn't get no kicks blocked. We didn't miss any field goals. We had 9 points off of the toe balls.
Yeah.
They were quiet but solid, and that's what you need your special teams to be, solid and quiet, and they were.
And quiet. They did have a 35-yard return, so let's give them well, that's hard to grade for me to grade special teams A minus.
Yeah, they didn't do anything bad enough to get a bad grade.
Anything to wow you? They didn't do anything to go, oh, what the fuck?
Right. Finally, the coaching. I want to say, Mike, I give this coaching job an A. Throughout the year, I know that people complain. I know that I certainly have as well. The offense, the coaching, Mike, I thought did well yesterday. Like I said, they came out, they put up 28 points, possibly 35 if Najee doesn't fumble the ball at the goal line. This close from being a 35-point game. The defense did what they had to do all season. They did it. Like I said, we're not going on a season, but yesterday they kept this team to 14 points, where that's been right around the baseline between 14 and 17 points, somewhere in there. We're not letting anybody over that. I thought coaching, Mike, they did a great job. They came out yesterday prepared. This football team came out to play yesterday. The football team came out to win yesterday, and they did all those things. There was no stupid, with the exception of the CPR, in my opinion.
But that's on the players.
And put that up real quick. And P's jumping in. P has a comment. He says, all I have to say is Tomlin is out. You know what? Obviously, P is joking. I could tell by the smiley faces. But I tell you what, he did great. I like him. I love him. I'm glad that people are now going to start liking him more. I think I have a theory on this, and I'm going to go over it tomorrow because I don't really want to get into it today, Mike. But I'm really enjoying Coach T and what he's doing. And like I said, as we move forward, I think he's going to start getting the respect more than what he has been getting over the past dozen years or so. Again, I'll talk more about that maybe tomorrow. Mike,
my coaching grade real quick. I'm going to go with a B plus. B plus.
Okay.
B plus. I thought, someone on that staff should have, convinced Tomlin to make the challenge on that Najee.
You know what? That would be the one thing if I.
But I didn't harp on it like everyone else because, like you and I were talking during the game, they had 3 other chances to punch it in, and to me, that was like, okay, why waste a challenge? Because you never know how these challenges are going to go.
Yeah. You know what? If we would have challenged it, then we would have had a 35-point game. You know who?
Yeah.
Again, you're right. That's why we grade the way that we do, Mike. We also have our new schedule. I'm going to run down the teams real quick, and I'm going to get a way early prediction for next season, final score. And we still have other things we got to do. We got to go over the playoff bracket. We have to go over our picks, Mike. So for this season, our home games are going to be the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Jaguars, Titans, Cardinals, 49ers, Patriots, Packers. And then on the road, we're going to be playing the Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Texans, Colts, Rams, Seahawks, Raiders. I don't think that this schedule is too intimidating. Like I said, you come off a positive finish, something to build on. Maybe you get some good players in the draft, and you may or may not get a different coordinator. But this schedule certainly is a lot more comfortable than last season's were. And like I said to you earlier, with the exception of the 49ers, the Bengals, and maybe the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, I mean, these games don't scare you. Where's your KC? Where's your Buffalo? Where's your, you know what I mean? It's not those games. So these games are in my eyes, winnable.
I'm going to go with, I think they win 10 games next year.
10 games? 10-7?
Yeah, early prediction, 10-7. It's way too early. Way too early.
I'm going to go 11-6, make the playoffs.
Ooh.
Mike, also, let's drop down to the bracket. I need some predictions. We got this weekend coming up. Lamar Jackson is strong. There's a strong consideration to have Lamar Jackson starting in the game. We got Baltimore at Bengals. Baltimore at the Bengals. I think this game is going to be a lot different than the game yesterday with Lamar Jackson. However, I still think Cincinnati wins because they're just a better team at this point.
Yeah.
Plus, Lamar hasn't played in a month. You're gonna get results, but you also might get that Lamar that we see sometimes, who gets the yips with the tips of his fingers, loses the ball, drops the ball. Who do you like in this game, Mike? Bengals or the Ravens?
Early prediction, I'm gonna go with the Bengals. That the Baltimore team has not impressed me, and Lamar's gonna come back be rusty as all get out.
Miami and Buffalo, the other game, one of the other games, like Miami and Buffalo. Miami, hopefully Tua, is able to play. If not, they may have to go with a hurt Teddy Bridgewater, or again the rookie Skylar Thompson. Buffalo, they are hard to stop once they get going. I like Buffalo in this. I don't think there's any chance of Miami wins.
Yeah, me too. I'm liking Buffalo, even though their defense isn't what it was at the beginning of the year. I think they just have too much firepower to.
The lower caliber of the games, but I think this one's a little bit intriguing because of the quarterback play, Mike. The Chargers versus the Jaguars, LA Chargers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're getting to see two young, very talented quarterbacks, and Justin Herbert, and then also Trevor Lawrence over in Jacksonville. I, for one, am going to be very interested to watch this game just because of those alone. Who do you like in that game?
I'm going to go with Jacksonville. They're at home. West Coast team haven't come to the East Coast. This late in the season, I think they're going to. Jaguars are going to pull it off.
I like Chargers in this. I don't think the travel is going to hurt them as much. I think the Chargers are just a little bit better of a team. Jacksonville, like I said, I don't count them out moving forward. I think they're going to be a good team moving forward. However, this weekend I am going to take the Chargers. KC, of course, has the bye. Mike, over to the NFC real quick. The Giants at the Vikings. Who do you like here?
Vikings.
Okay. You know what? I think the Giants are going to win. I just do.
Wouldn't surprise me though, but I'm going with the Vikings.
The Vikings have been inconsistent. It's gonna be a fun one. I think the Giants pulled this off.
Yeah.
Seattle at 49ers. Mike, Seattle kind of overachieved this year. However, this 49er team, I don't see them going any less than this. I can't see them getting knocked out in the first round with this team that they have.
Either Brock Purdy is going to pull it out.
I like the running back, the guy from Carolina. Yeah, McCaffrey. This kid, geez, oh man. So you like the 49ers in this game?
Yeah, I like the 49ers.
I do too. Dallas and Tampa Bay. Mike, this is a Monday night playoff game. I've never seen this in my life. They are playing a Monday night playoff game. This one's going to be Dallas at Tampa Bay.
Oh God, I have. Let's go Dallas. I think the defense is going to be just a bit too much.
I you know what, Tampa Bay got in by default, basically. I can't see them winning many games. I think Dallas wins this one on Monday night. And then obviously the team that's sitting and waiting is the Philadelphia Eagles on this side. Who is your Super Bowl champion at this moment? Out of these,
Kansas City.
Kansas City?
Yeah. I know it's cliche to say, but I'm going to go with Kansas City.
You know what? I'm not. I mean, how can you not like them? I'm going to go Buffalo because I think that they're due. I would like to see a Buffalo Minnesota Super Bowl where both teams will be 0-4 going into this, and one of them comes out with their first Super Bowl win. I don't know if the Vikings are going to be the team. I wouldn't mind them because if either one of those two teams win, it wouldn't be a step up on the Steelers in their 6th Super Bowl record, where other teams might. The San Francisco 49ers could tie. The Dallas Cowboys could tie. Also, a team like the Giants, you get one more Super Bowl win, they're sitting at 5. So there are some teams that I do not want to see. And then obviously, I don't want to see teams from our division get in there. I don't want to see the Bengals. I don't want to see the Ravens. So there's a select few teams that I do like, but a Buffalo and a Minnesota Super Bowl would be my ideal Super Bowl.
That wouldn't be a bad one. I'd watch that.
Absolutely. Let's see. So we're then going to hop over, Mike. And you know what we're going to do?
What are we going to do?
Let's hop over here and do these picks real quick.
All right, let's do these picks. Right. Let's see how well I did.
Let's see how well you did, Mike. And you know what? I was wrong. You know what? I'm always wrong when I'm trying to figure out that tiebreaker because we're always below it. And for some reason, I'm thinking we're above. I don't know. But here we go. I think it comes down to the tiebreaker. I didn't go over these yet, but I think just by going off the top of my head, I think we're going to be tied at the end.
All right.
All right, Mike. So the Saturday game, the two games that I could care less about were on Saturday. I just wanted to get to Sunday to watch the Steelers. The Chiefs beat the Raiders 31-13.
Oh,
Mike,
I messed that one up.
for some reason, you took the Raiders. I don't know what you were thinking. But
They're normally good for an upset special.
Within the division, you're right. You usually see them getting that one win late in the season, and then the other one Saturday, Mike, where you and I both took the Jaguars. The Jaguars beat the Titans in the battle of the AFC South. Jaguars win 20-16. Finally, move over to Sunday, Mike. Sunday, big day. The Browns and the Steelers. The Steelers win that one, of course, 28-14. Mike, for whatever reason, you took Cleveland, so you're down 2 games to none at this point.
No, shut up.
The next one, Mike, the Ravens-Bengals. We both took the Bengals wisely because the Bengals did win 27-16. I thought it would be a little bit more of a blowout than that, but you know what? They go at it again next week. It's going to be a fun one to watch. AFC North, good football.
Oh, yeah.
Vikings-Bears. We both take the Vikings in a 29-13. That lets the Bears finish out 0-7 since the trade that the Steelers made with them for Chase Claypool in the draft pick. They got no better since that point.
I love it. I love it. Poor Justin Fields, though. I feel bad for him.
The Bills over the Patriots. We both took the Bills 35-23. Here's one that we were head-to-head. I took the Jets. You took the Dolphins. And the Dolphins win that game 11-6. You might as well call it 9-6. I mean, that safety at the end was
that was
not significant to the...
No, not at all.
So 2-1, Mike. I am up 2-1 at this point. The next game, Mike, we both took the Buccaneers over the Falcons. However, the Falcons win 30-17.
Who saw that coming?
I think it's hilarious because, like I said, it puts Tom Brady and the Buccaneers under 500. They're a default team. They won't be in the playoffs long. Thank goodness.
What's them make the playoff or make it to the Super Bowl?
Oh, don't even say that.
And then they win with a losing record. I fucking love it.
Panthers at Saints. You took the Panthers. I took the Saints, and the Panthers won 10-7. I'm glad I didn't watch this game. I mean, low scoring AFC North games are fun. Games like
anywhere else,
the Panthers, that's not fun. It's just bad football.
No, Andy Dalton, 171 yards passing.
Yeah. Was this game at night? And you took the Panthers on that. I did take the Saints, so we are tied up, knotted up 2 games apiece. Mike, game 4 of 6 that we were head-to-head was the Texans and the Colts. You took the Colts. I took the Texans. And the Texans win 32-31.
I think this is why Lovie Smith was fired, because they won and they lost the first overall pick.
Right, you dummy.
Right? I love it.
So that is 3-2 me. And your other game is coming up here. Let's see. Next is the Cardinals 49ers. We both took the 49ers.
Yep.
And they won 38-13 over the Cardinals. No surprise there.
No,
this one was a bit of a surprise. We both took the Cowboys. However, they lost to Washington 26-6.
Yes, Sam Howell in his first start in the NFL pulls off the upset.
Yeah. That one there, Mike, that Cowboys game right there is the one that makes me really, really interested to watch the Cowboys Tampa Bay game, because if you lose 26-6 to the to Washington, maybe Tampa Bay will be a good game for you. I don't know. Surprise to me, surprise to most people. Mike, the Rams at Seahawks. We both took the Seahawks. The Seahawks win 19-16 over the Rams.
Oh, I didn't realize that one went to overtime.
It did. What a painful season for the Super Bowl champs.
It is, man. But they mortgaged this year and the next year for this game, and hey, for that Super Bowl, and they got it. So
Giants, Eagles. We both took Philadelphia. They did beat the Giants 22-16. Chargers, Broncos. How the hell the Broncos win this football game? 31-28. We both take the Chargers. And finally, the last one that we have to bet. I'm up 3-2 at this point. You take the Lions. I take the Packers. And the Lions win, Mike. The Lions win the finale.
I can't believe it.
So that ties us up at 3. It ties us up at 3. No,
In fact, someone still Andy Dalton for anything besides commercials baffles me. Me too. But hey, man, it's the
you
Red
know what,
Rocket.
P? I can't. He's a red rocket, all right. I can't even believe he's in commercials. To be honest with you, I think the guy has zero appeal. You know what I mean? You get these guys that are there's something about him. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, the guy's a handsome guy. You put him in all your commercials, you're going to make money. People are going to be drawn to that. I can't imagine anybody being drawn to Andy Dalton. I'm just saying. So, Mike, we are going to dig. The final of the game yesterday was 28-14. I'm talking about the Steelers and the Browns. That's a total of 42 points. You went 35. I went 36, which was 1 point higher, but still not over to 42. Mike, I did end up pulling this one off to finish the season. But that doesn't really matter because we still have a couple things coming up here where we're going to have a chance to make some more predictions, Mike, before even the end of this show. So you sit tight as we get ready to jump back over to a couple other sports things. Mike, we're going on all cylinders today, brother. We're going on all cylinders. One of the big ones, Mike. Let's see, Dalton.
Cardinals just fired their coach Cliff Kingsbury. He was signed to a contract extension 10 months ago.
Oh man!
Wow, the first
really
domino
falls. That team. I tell you what, that team really fell apart from what they were supposed to be. Mike, real quick, I gotta get into these.
All right.
Of course, the Pitt Panther basketball, Mike. They had a big game on Saturday against Clemson to the 2 undefeated teams in the conference to see who's top. Clemson, they sneak by him 75-74.
Oh.
So Pitt's still in the running. However, the next game, Mike, they're right back at it tomorrow night. They play Duke. They go to Duke. They go down to Duke to play another conference game. That's tomorrow at 7:00. Watch Pitt get back in this thing. Also, Mike, I just wanted to point out that one of the assistant coaches' names for the Clemson Tigers was Dick Bender.
Great name.
With that being said, I do have to hop over, Mike. We're going to go to the Pittsburgh Penguins, who also played over the weekend. They were coming off this losing streak. We were talking about them last week, about them falling apart. They get a win last night to get back on the winning side of things. They won 4-1 over the Phoenix Coyotes, and they did. They broke
21-5 Phoenix Coyotes.
You know what? You got to take
Arizona Coyotes. Excuse me.
Is that what? Yeah. They broke the streak. They come back tomorrow night at 7:00, same time that the Pitt game's on. So you can flip back and forth between Pitt and hockey and the Penguins. They play at 7:00 tomorrow against the Canucks. Hopefully, we can extend that winning streak a little bit. And last week, Mike, I spoke real quickly about Sidney Crosby getting his 9th All-Star team appearance selection, which is tied with Jaromir Jagr, but both of them guys are second to Murray, who had 13. He had 13, Mike. I didn't point that out the other day. I just thought that was cool. Mario,
once
13.
Again, Mario has everything.
And then finally, let's see. Now the one that we have that's tonight, Mike, national championship. You have the TCU Horned Frogs. You have the Georgia Bulldogs. Which one of these teams are going to win? They're going to be in SoFi Field out in Los Angeles. 2 good teams. Like I said, TCU knocks out Michigan, and Georgia beats Ohio State. A lot of points scored last weekend in these in the playoff games. This is your chance, Mike. This is your chance to redeem yourself for the day. Who do you like in tonight's championship game?
I'm going TCU in a major upset.
All right, TCU major upset. I'll take Georgia just to keep it interesting. If you would have took Georgia, I was going to take TCU.
Yeah, I did, right?
So that's just what that is.
Georgia's 13-point favorites, by the way.
You know what? You hope the same team comes out and plays for TCU that came out last week. You don't want them to see. You don't want to see a team that you don't want that to be the confident team, and then a team that comes out that's just not as ready. I want to see that same exact team that played against Michigan tonight. So that is tonight, everybody. National championship. You don't want to miss that. We will be talking about that a little bit more tomorrow. My couple quick things, non-sports related. You know what? I'm not even going to that. We had so much fun with sports today. Why don't you go and tell everybody about our website?
2dumyinzers.com, the number 2, DUMYINZERS.com. You head on over there. It's a one-stop shop for everything 2 Dumb Yinzers. We have links to YouTube and Spotify, the 2 main platforms for our show. There's links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagrams, merchandise store, everything at 2dumyinzers.com.
There you go. Everybody go check that out. Awesome job as always, Michael. We are on every day live between 11 and 12 a.m. to 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., 5 days a week. And the show that we do that day gets uploaded that same day at 8 o'clock in the evening.
Mhm.
So if you just want to listen to the show, you could go over to Spotify at 8 o'clock just to listen to the show. And we also have a pretty nice catalog over there. You could go through all the older shows and maybe find something you like there as well. Mike, it's Monday. We got the playoffs ready. We got national championship. Penguins are back on track. Pitt's looking. It's going to be a big week, man. We got a lot of stuff going on. We're going to keep coming hard at you.
Yes, coming hard. We are coming hard.
Like Dick Bender for the Clemson Tigers. Mike, do you have anything before we take off for the day, brother?
I'm looking forward to playoff weekend, baby. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too, Mike. A lot going on here. It's going to be a lot of build-up. I can't wait to see if Lamar comes back to play in this game. They're all going to be great games. I really do believe so. But everybody, like I said, tonight, we do have the national championship. Check that out. Tomorrow we'll be talking more about that. Mike takes the Horned Frogs. I got the Bulldogs. And we will see how that plays out. But hey, everybody, we do want to thank you for checking us out. P, we do always appreciate you and your comments.
Yes, we do.
And everybody from the Two Dum Yinzer world, I'm Ryan. He's Mike. We'll see you tomorrow.